Okay, back with another mock draft reaction. This time it's a mock draft of two different people. Mel Kiper and Field Yates are going back and forth. Field Yates has the first overall pick, Mel Kiper the second overall pick. So this could be interesting. So let's go through it, and I'm going to give my thoughts on this. So first, Cam Ward at first overall. That checks out. Travis Hunter at number 2 overall, which creates some intrigue at number 3. Do you go with Abdul Carter or do you mix things up? What does Yates decide to do? Abdul Carter, yeah, it's what I would do as well. If you can't trade the pick, just take the best player available. You'll figure out the fit and how to make it all work eventually. So I'm on board here. There's been kind of a track for 4 through 7 for a lot of people, but maybe they will disagree. Let's see. Number 4, Will Campbell. Okay, so far this is what's expected. Will it be Mason Graham at 5? Yes, it will. Will it be Ashton Genty at 6? Yes, it will. And then, Ahmed Membu is at 7. So, okay, again, so far, exactly what we would have expected, I would say. But now as many people feel as though the draft starts at 8, let's get into the real draft then, I suppose. Starting at 8, Jalen Walker, which it's just okay. Listen, I get that. So the idea is Carolina had big time defensive issues last season. I don't know. First off, I'm just not as high on Jalen Walker as other people are. I think if I liked him more as a prospect, maybe I'd be more open to this pick. But the other reason is I just feel like, can we not get a receiver to help out Bryce Young? Like, I don't know. I just think that's going to end up happening, but I could be wrong. There's been a lot of smoke that Jalen Walker will go at pick number 8. We'll see if it happens. Again, some people really like him as a prospect, so depends on your evaluation to some degree. Shedeur Sanders to the Saints, yeah. I mean, again, I don't think it's a guarantee that this happens, but ultimately, it's what I predicted as well. I think it's probably what's going to end up happening there. The Bears go with Tyler Warren. So this is interesting, right? Because they don't need a tight end at all. You have Cole Kmet, who is a good tight end. Now, do I think Tyler Warren could bring some things that Kmet can't do? Sure. Do I think that you can have 2 tight ends play? Sure. But ultimately, is this a move? I think they want to have Kmet here for a while. Are you essentially, I mean, you can play 2 tight ends. I get it. If you really think Warren is that guy, if he is the Brock Bowers, go for it. It's just, do you think he's that guy? Because ultimately, if this is an all-pro caliber player, Cole Kmet shouldn't be enough to get you to not draft that player. I think that's fair to say. Cole Kmet can be the number 2 tight end. But let's keep it moving. Kelvin Banks Jr., interesting. So this is saying more for a potential Trent Williams replacement. Listen, they could use offensive line help. They absolutely could. So I don't hate a move like this whatsoever. Kelvin Banks is a player who I really do like as a prospect. I think he's getting slept on a bit. I think he's worth the number 11 overall pick. So maybe not where everyone's going there, but ultimately for Yates, I don't hate the selection if it happens. At 12, Matthew Golden. A lot of people are expecting this. It certainly could end up happening. Number 13, Will Johnson. Again, another one that kind of people are expecting at this point. It makes sense, right? Cowboys could use a number 2 receiver. Matthew Golden can do a lot of number 2 receiver things. The Dolphins could use a lot of corners, and Will Johnson is a good corner, so that makes sense. 14, Colston Loveland. So this is where I kind of disagree, where I feel like a lot of people are saying, okay, the Colts want a tight end. I think they want Tyler Warren. I think they would be okay with Colston Loveland. I think they would consider him if he's available and Warren isn't. But I don't think that if Warren goes, that they're just going to say, well, we need the next best tight end, Colston Loveland, come on up. I think they'd be willing to go other directions as well, but I think he'd be a good player for them and would be a nice receiving tight end option for them. So I don't think it'd be the worst pick in the world. Mike Green for the Falcons, yeah, they could finally get their edge rusher that we've been waiting for them to get. He'd be a very good player. They're not going to get scared off with the off-the-field issues. They were into Deshaun Watson, quote-unquote, sweepstakes back in the day. So, yeah, this is something that they would, very possibly do. The Cardinals, yeah, I think I totally agree. Jody Barron would be the guy if he is still available at pick 16. 1,000% agree there. Really good corner, and they could use a corner, so works out there. Would fit the scheme well as well. Walter Nolan, I don't hate this pick by the Bengals. I think some people would consider it a bit of a reach, but I don't know if I agree with that. I think he's a good player, and could be a really good run defender on the interior defensive line. Now, is that the biggest issue when their passing defense was so bad? I don't know. It's not. It's not. Their biggest issue is pass defense, not run defense. But ultimately, you help one out, that can help out the other. So it can work together. Is there bigger shoes that could be filled? Potentially, but he would be a player that could help them. Number 18, Gray Zabel, who, as they say, it might seem early for an interior offensive lineman, but he's a really good player. I mean, they need an interior offensive line. I think that this is still a bit early for me personally at pick 18, but ultimately I think they would like to trade down and then get a player, but if they just need to reach on helping out, I do get it. They're in a weird spot where it's, do they draft best player available or do they reach for a need? I think he would be a solid player for them, so it's not like a horrible reach or anything like that. Number 19. Oh, come on. You have Jahad Campbell on the board, and you're not picking Jahad Campbell. As a Tampa Bay fan, I cannot approve of that. Nick Emanuware, I do understand. They could use a safety as well. I like Campbell a little bit more as a player. I just do. Number 20 on the list, Marion Hampton. Yeah, Sean Payton gets his running back. Definitely something that he does value. Number 21, Derek Harmon. Yeah, it's again, the Steelers are in a weird spot. It feels like their biggest needs aren't really available at this point. So what do? Maybe you move around in the draft, but ultimately they could just stick where they're at and get someone like Derek Harmon, who, again, Cam Hayward's 36 right now. Great player, but you are going to have to move on at some point. Harmon, really good pass rushing interior defensive lineman, so okay, I understand it. 22, Emeka Egbuka out of Ohio State, really good receiver. I think this would be a good pick for them if they get him. The question that you just kind of have to ask is, do the Chargers want to go receiver here? Yeah, I think they realize it's an issue, right? They put resources into that. They realize it's an issue, but I don't know if they feel like they need to go wide receiver here, which I know, again, if it's their biggest need, why don't they need to go there? Well, remember, they drafted Joe Alt with pick number 5 last year when everyone thought they should get Malik Neighbors. And listen, they're both great players. You could argue which one you'd rather have, but that's just kind of their mindset. Granted, I do think that if a player of this caliber is still on the board at this point, might as well go for it, right? Number 23, what did the Packers do? Shamar Stewart, yeah. I mean, this is a player that the Packers do go after, right? Like Quay Walker reminds me of someone who was a raw prospect that they said, well, let's just draft him because we like his potential. Stewart is kind of that guy, someone who definitely has a really unique archetype. He's a really good run defender. Obviously, the only 1.5 sacks for each of the last 3 years in college, that's just gonna hurt him. It just is. But I do think there is maybe some potential there. I don't hate him as a prospect, but is this the best player? Well, no, it's not the best player, but we'll see. We'll see how well it works out, right? Number 24, wow, Donovan Jackson. This is not something I have seen at all. So Mel Kiper is making a bit of a bold pick here, guard out of Ohio State. Okay, listen, I mean, it is honestly, it's not even really that big of a. They could use another guard. I think they could use another interior guy. But still, this is a bit of an out there pick. I don't know if he's quite a 24th overall player. That's just, I haven't done a full deep dive on him, but my shorter evaluation of him, I did not think I needed to pay too much attention to him being a first rounder. Maybe I need to go back and revisit that. I don't know. Number 25, I mean, if Ted McMillan falls to 25, okay, listen, he's not the biggest position of need for the Texans, but you know what? Maybe to help out Bryce Young, help out C.J. Stroud, what you do is just have guys who get open quickly, and you don't have to hold on to the ball for too long. An offensive line doesn't have to block. I don't know. It's an idea. I mean, I like McMillan a lot. If he's at 25, you kind of just have to take him. I think he's going to be gone before then. I think the Vikings would take him, even though that's definitely not a need that they have. Maxwell Harrison out of Kentucky. So I get it. I think the reason why I'm not fully on Maxwell Harrison to the Rams, and maybe would think they might go like someone like Trey Amos, is just they don't really go after toolsy players too often. They tend to prefer guys who have production. So I think that that's why I feel like Amos would maybe be the move if they go corner. But I think Harrison is a good player, and maybe the Rams will say, you know what, he's toolsy enough. He has enough production. We've seen him do enough good stuff over the years that we'll still make this move, which I could see. So yeah. Malachi Starks at the Ravens, that's interesting. Again, they don't need a safety at all, but they do love their defensive backs. They do like to have a lot of different defensive backs play, so maybe that's just what they do. If they feel like he's, the argument here by Yates is they kind of wait for the board to come to them. That is true. They are going to take a guy that they just like as a player, so maybe that's just the logic here if you feel like Starks is that player. Mikael Williams, feels like they want to go edge rusher, so going there with the Lions, that makes sense to me. Number 29, excuse me, we have a trade. I didn't realize trades were a thing. I think this is the first trade we have, but okay. The Browns trade back into the first round. You see this, they're explaining why they would do the first round, and then the Browns get Jackson Dart. So I did something like this in my all chaos mock draft. I actually had them trading up ahead of the Steelers to get Jackson Dart. Now, is this something that will happen? I don't know. I do think at this point, you would do a trade simply just to get the 5th-year option for a quarterback, right? That's why you would make this move. Because obviously the next few picks aren't going quarterback. Yeah, I would not hate this at all if this happened. I think Commanders get an extra pick, and the Browns get, they don't have to spend their number 2 overall pick on a quarterback, but still get someone who could be the future. I would totally be a fan of this. I like Dart as a prospect. Not everyone does. I get why people don't like him, but yeah, I think that's fine. Trey Amos for the Bills. Yeah, that totally makes sense to me. They could use a corner. He could really help out the secondary. We then have the Chiefs going pick 31, going offensive lineman, which again, it makes sense. They, yes, as they mentioned, they have Jalen Moore, but they want more, so to speak. So yeah, I think that would make some sense. And then Jahad Campbell to the Eagles. I mean, again, is that something that they necessarily need? Because they have Nakobe Dean, they have Zach Bond, but at the same time, I mean, he's such a good player that this is a move the Eagles would make. If he was available, they would do something like this. Let's just get a good player. So, yeah, we can't let that happen, right? The Eagles can't get everybody who's good. They have to, settle for a decent prospect this year, I think. That's only fair. But yeah, that would be a great pick for them. Ultimately, while there wasn't, not sure about every single pick, it was a very entertaining mock draft and one that I enjoyed reading through, which is the goal of mock drafts. So, yeah, I had a good time with that one. What were your thoughts on it? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.